We've got an award-winning Cleveland Browns mailbag coming for you guys today. Matthew Peterson from Chat Sports here, answering questions the Browns fans were asking during our live show, which is every single Thursday at 4 Eastern. So if you missed it and you want to ask a question, tune in next Thursday at 4 o'clock and you will get on screen like Gregory H. did, who is hitting leadoff for us today. Do you think Njoku will start Sunday? So we are recording this right now on Thursday, so maybe this could change by the time you're watching this. He was somewhat close to playing last week. He did practice today on Thursday, and that's positive to see. Do I think he plays? That initial diagnosis was 2 to 5 weeks following the loss against the Ravens. There was the Bengals game, there was the bye, there was the Dolphins. So we're right in that range. I'm optimistic that Njoku will play. I hope so. He's having the best year of his career yet. I don't know, this Browns offense desperately needs him back to have success. I mean, Harrison Bryant had a touchdown last week, but you definitely missed Njoku. I just don't know if getting Njoku back is going to be the difference maker in the Bills game, if you will. Next question coming in from Jim. Think the Browns defense can stop the Bills running game? Good question, Jim. I don't think the Browns defense, specifically the run defense, can stop anyone. What evidence do we have to suggest outside of one great game against Joe Mixon and the Bengals, where they got up for it at home on Monday night? The Rams have the worst rushing attack in football. They average about 65 yards per game. I wish the Browns played the Rams this year. It would have been a good litmus test of who's worse, the Browns run defense or the Rams rushing attack. Do I think they can stop the Bills? The Bills' number one rushing leader is Josh Allen. So if they're able to game plan to force Devin Singletary and Zach Moss and James Cook to be the primary backs and ball carriers, got a chance, but I don't have any confidence against any team for this Browns interior unit. What's up, Greeny? Does Kevin Stefanski deserve to be on the hot seat? Interesting question. It's something that's been talked about all week at this point, and I can sort of see both sides of the argument. The Browns are 3 wins right now. If you look at the NFL standings, they are the best 3-win team, right? They continue to sort of be in decent NFL power ranking range because everyone keeps looking at this roster and is like, they have to be better than 3-6, right? They're too good. Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, Amari Cooper, doesn't add up. Kevin Stefanski is definitely missing the boat a little bit right now. He's 22-20 in his NFL career. But hot seat-wise, does he deserve to be on it? I don't think so. Andrew Berry did not construct a good defense for him. They skimped out on defensive tackles, and that is really what's killing this team altogether. Now, Kevin Stefanski was instrumental in getting Deshaun Watson to Cleveland. Don't forget that. Nothing's happening to Stefanski at the end of the season, right? They want to see Stefanski have a year and all of next year a full season and the rest of this year with Watson and figure out if he's the right coach for Deshaun Watson, right? If not, a change will be made after that point. But Haslam, Stefanski, and Berry, those 3 are like the Powder Puff Girls going to get Deshaun Watson. They're not breaking up. Sugar, spice, and everything nice. No, they're not leaving after one season with Deshaun Watson breaking the band up. Not happening. But I'll let you guys kind of weigh in here. Should Kevin Stefanski be on the hot seat? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section what you think in the comment. Let me know what you think in the comment section if whether or not good old Kevin should be on the hot seat. I'm going to go with no. I mean, he's got an offense with a backup quarterback that's averaging a lot more than a lot of offenses with their starting quarterbacks. But also, it's a good reminder for everyone, he's not an offensive coordinator. He's a head coach. You can't just dismiss this defense and special teams because he's an offensive guy. He's the OC. Sorry, he's the head coach. He's not the OC. I talked myself into it. Another question coming in from Gregory. Who do you believe has a breakout game this week? Against the Bills, a breakout game. What about Donovan Peoples-Jones? He's got 6 straight games with over 50 receiving yards. The only other player to do that is Justin Jefferson. We've seen him go off with big plays here and there. But can we get some real yards after the catch, a touchdown run, right? I think Donovan Peoples-Jones has been getting better and better by the weeks go on. Would love to see him really put together a monstrous, 100-yard receiving game with a touchdown in there too. Sco Browns coming in next. Trade for DK after the season. Wow. Okay, so that's a off-the-wall question. No, because DK Metcalf just signed an extension with the Seahawks, and Seattle is very content with the way they're operating right now. So they have no urgency to move on from one of their best players in their prime. It would be a fun idea to pair DK and Cooper. We definitely talked about this in the offseason, but no, I give this a 0% chance of happening. And this is the NFL where never say never, but for this, I will say never. All right, what's up, Trick Crew? Is Winovich good to play yet? Haven't heard much. Will he make a difference? So Chase Winovich was activated off IR a week ago at this point, and you're right, we haven't seen or heard much of him really since the trade with Mack Wilson went down. Andrew Berry saw something. I mean, he had some good first years in New England. I sure hope so, because outside of Myles Garrett, this team has no pass rush. Myles Garrett has 7.5 sacks on the season. Off the top of my head, quick math, the Browns have 20 sacks this season. If I got that right, I'm impressed with myself. That's about 37% of the sack production coming from one player, which isn't crazy percentage because that's what Myles Garrett is, right? He's your best guy. But there is a long drop-off after Myles Garrett in terms of sacks, and they need someone to just take over the opposite defensive end position. Clowney's not getting the job done. I don't think Clowney's going to get benched, but his ankle continues to hinder him a little bit. When they rotate, whoever's coming in for Clowney needs to make the most of that opportunity. Now, if you want to get on our next mailbag, it's subscribers only here at the channel. It's completely free. Just click onto that button, and that way you can be a part of our next mailbag. You can ask a question, and you can be on YouTube.com for millions and billions of people to see. Frank is next up on the show. Did the Browns give the wrong person to the Vikings for GM? Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is the Vikings general manager that came from Cleveland. And this is one of those things where, as fans, you don't know the intricacies of a front office and who's valuable at, the assistant running back. For example, we always see that graphic of Sean McVay, Shanahan, LaFleur were all on the Washington Redskins staff 10 or so years ago. Cancel me, I know. How do they let him go? Well, what'd you expect him to do? Fire their coach on the spot because they thought, well, one of these guys might be good in a decade. We can't let him go now. I've never understood that, really. What did you expect Washington to do? Same kind of goes for Cleveland. Kwesi might be a fantastic GM in Minnesota. I wish him all the luck. But did anyone say in March, we got to fire Andrew Berry so we can keep this Kwesi guy? Just props to Minnesota for making a good hire. That's all that is. Joshua Miller, do we have anyone worth the franchise tag next year? Now, that's a good question, Josh. Hadn't really thought about that. Franchise tag, remember, takes the top 5 average salaries of the position pretty much in the nuts and bolts of it. Franchise tag, they sort of did with the Njoku until they got a long-term deal done. Off the top of my head, expiring contracts, like Greedy Williams, no, he's not going to get franchise tagged. On the offensive line, Conklin, no. Jed still under contract. Taki would be an overpay. It's got to be right perfect. You're not going to give Taki top 5 linebacker money. JOK's under contract. No one on the interior defensive line. I can't think of anyone. Unless someone obvious is escaping me, and you guys can weigh in yourselves, I don't think there really is a logical franchise tag candidate. You're not going to give Kareem Hunt all that money. So, no. I just don't see anyone getting franchise tagged. But I do like the question. All right. We're going to get to more questions in just a moment, but I've got to tell all of our viewers about BetUS. If you head on over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Browns125, BetUS will hook you up with a 125% deposit bonus. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no other sportsbook out there that's giving you that kind of deal. So make all of your picks with me and with us at Chat Sports at BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code Browns125. I've been making a killing on some college basketball. Shout out to Wright State. If you know, you know. Covering machines, baby. Brown Tiger next up on the show. $5 super chat. How how do the Browns slow down Allen since it's in a dome now? Remember that teams that usually don't have a run game has a field day against us. Example, Miami. Well, Miami, you're right, was not known for running the football. They had a pretty bad rushing attack to start the year. They benched their starting running back, Chase Edmonds. They traded for Jeff Wilson, and they put up over 130 yards on the Browns. So how do the Browns slow down Josh Allen? If I had the answer for that question, I'd probably be a defensive coordinator. I'll bring producer Patrick on impromptu. He's a Vikings fan, so yes. He maybe have some better insight. The Vikings beat Josh Allen. The Browns' best bet is just pinning them at the 1 and Josh Allen fumbling. Is that the game plan here?
He does get sloppy in the red zone as of lately.
He has
thrown some bad picks.
He has thrown some bad picks, and he's also sometimes been a little bit too Madden Game Boy-y, where he tries to do too much and overfill his plate. So as a defense, what can you do to bring that on? Well, a lot of it starts with a balance of not just sending the house every time so we can pick you apart, but the Browns have had very little success getting to the quarterback without rushing more than 4. So your best hope is Josh Allen continues this kind of flukiness behavior. Do you have anything else?
He leads the league in interceptions.
10 interceptions this season, yeah.
Maybe losing Brian Dable. He was the one that kind of kept him under control.
I like that take. So Denzel Ward, it's your time to shine, buddy. This is on you, Denzel. Be goated. Does it make a difference that the Browns game has been moved to Detroit? I would say so. It makes a huge difference because when it was going to be in Buffalo in the snow, I looked at it as Nick Chubb versus Devin Singletary. Now it's in a dome. So now it's Jacoby Brissett versus Josh Allen on offense. And Josh Allen in a dome is a perfect 4-0. A completion percentage of 65%. Over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So now you kind of take out the X factor of this game, which was the unpredictability of the snow, of the weather, which was going to hinder Buffalo's ability to throw the football, their biggest strength. Now that they don't lose their biggest strength and they have all their guns and all their cannons along the side of their ships, it might get ugly. I am terrified. But I'll try to talk myself into it. I'm that screwed up in the head. Josh Miller with a super chat. Ooh, best Thanksgiving dessert. All right, I'm going to let everyone watching right now let me know in the comments. Apple pie. I love apple pie. That is my favorite pie. That is my favorite Thanksgiving dessert. This might be an unpopular take. I don't like apple pie warmed up, though. Room temp is fine for me. I don't like when someone puts it in the microwave like 2 hours after you're done. You're like, well, now I'm ready for second dessert. No, room temp is good for me, apple pie. Let me know your favorite Thanksgiving dessert in the comments section. Joshua Miller with another super chat. Let's go, Josh. Is it worth to switch to a 3-4 defense and bring Vic Fangio on board? Is Garrett athletic enough to be a stand-up outside linebacker in that defense? Great question, Josh. So Vic Fangio has had a long run of making very successful defenses. He did it with the 49ers. He had that 2018 Bears defense kicking ass and taking names, which then got him the job in Denver. And that Broncos team, I mean, look how bad it is right now at Mile High with Russell Wilson in the offense. He had Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock winning 7-8 games because their defense was top 5 in the NFL. Vic Fangio does run a 3-4 defense, which it's always tough to make a switch like that from 4-3 to 3-4. Is Myles Garrett able to be athletic enough? Myles Garrett's called Superman for a reason, right? When you're picked first overall, you have the traits to do a lot of jobs. It might seem odd to picture it right now, Myles Garrett being an outside linebacker like that, but Khalil Mack, for example, was a player who went from the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, to the Chicago Bears, and he made that change, and he did it pretty well. So I think it is possible, and if Vic Fangio's in Cleveland, I know it's going to make a different scheme, but it's not like the current one is working, so why not give it a shot? Last question coming in from Goodness Pete. Deshaun Watson doesn't play defense, so why would anything change with him? This is a fair point. I think there's a good contingent of fans out there, and some of myself included, that go, guys, when Deshaun Watson gets here, everything's going to change. Well, let's remind ourselves, it wasn't like Deshaun Watson was undefeated in Houston, right? Won 4 games his final year with the Texans, if I remember correctly. So, yes, Deshaun Watson will improve the offense, and he'll put more points on the board. But if the defense surrenders 38, 39 points like they did to the Patriots and to the Dolphins, No, I don't have faith in Deshaun Watson averaging 40 points per game. It will make life a little bit easier for the defense in terms of time of possession. A couple less punts here and there, keep the defense on the sideline. So Watson will raise this team. Don't get me wrong, but I do think it's a good reminder. Deshaun Watson's not going to walk onto that field and be perfect and undefeated for the rest of the season. I don't see that happening either.